In the introduction to the Tanya, the Alter Rebbe said that my goal in this work is to explain to you one verse of the Torah. And the verse says, Ki karov elecha hadavar ma'od, because serving God is something that is very near to you. It's very easily accessible for you. Beficha, by using the words of your mouth to worship God. Bilvavcha, by channeling the feelings of your heart to worshiping God. La'asoto, and by guiding and ensuring all of your actions and deeds are also for the purpose of serving God. In other words, it's easy. It's very accessible. Now, this chapter sort of summarizes and concludes one section of the Tanya. And the question posed over here is, what does it mean to say it's easy, it's easily accessible, it's near to you? Now, but there's three things going on over here. There's the heart, like one's thoughts and one's feelings. There's one's words and one's deeds. So deeds, controlling your actions, I understand. We have more control over them. Controlling one's words, I understand as well. But what is the word bilvavcha, in your heart? To control your feelings. What does that mean? Why is that karov elecha? How is that near to you and easily accessible? It's not easily accessible to control and master the feelings of your heart. We've learned that only, as the Talmud says, tzadikim libam birshutam. Only by the holy, righteous people, the tzadikim, who are very few and far in between, only they are in control of their hearts. But everyone else is not in control of their hearts. If you have a strong, living, breathing animal soul within you that tries to capture your heart, that's in fact primarily seated in your heart to distract your feelings and your attractions to things that are unholy or against the Torah, it's not easy to access them. Even the Torah says, when Moses asks the Jewish people, what does God already want from you? Just to fear him, just to be in awe of him. And the Talmud asks, is that such an easy thing? Even to have awe of God is fairly difficult. How much more so to be consumed by love of God? Now, even to even strengthen the question, is it possible to love different things sort of simultaneously? Now, it is possible to love ice cream and pizza and vegetables and fruit. You can love them all at the same time. However, let's say you have a spouse and you love your spouse. At the same time, you cannot love another person as much at the same time. It's impossible to carry those two kinds of loves in your heart. Why? What's the difference between that and the analogy of the food that we mentioned? Because the love of one food doesn't restrict you. It's not exclusive. You can love one food, you can love another food. It's okay. The love to your spouse is essentially saying a love that is committed to your spouse, a love that is to the exclusion of everyone else. That's the nature of a true love to another person. Well, if that's the case, you cannot love somebody else at the same time as much as you love your spouse. One would be in conflict with the other. And so it says, you cannot love God, love the Torah, love and be passionate for that which is true and real in this world, and at the same time have a love for something else, a love for a temptation, a desire that is taking you away from a life of service. The two commitments cannot be at the same time. And most people don't have mastery over their hearts, and therefore their heart is always filled with attractions, impulses, desires towards things that are distracting you, taking you away from what the Torah wants and from what's true and real. And so what does the verse mean? It's easy and near accessible to you to be able to master those feelings in your heart. So to answer that, the Alter Rebbe says, based on things we've been explaining in the past few chapters, we can understand this. In fact, let's look at the order, the structure of the verse, because it's very telling. It doesn't seem to go in order. It says, beficha, in your mouth, bilvavcha, in your heart, la soto, and your deeds. Now, it's not in ascending or descending order. Either it should be first deeds, then your words, then your heart. In other words, working from the outside in, or from the inside out. First your heart, then your words, then your deeds. But instead it says first your words, then it goes to the exterior parts, the actions. Then it goes to the inner parts, the heart, the feelings, and then it goes all the way out to one's actions. What's the meaning of the order? So the answer is as follows. Let's look at the verse. Beficha, with your words. Bilvavcha, with your heart. La'asoto. We translate la'asoto in its simple meaning and your actions and your deeds. But the word la'asoto, to perform, to act, And the reason that it follows the word before it, which is B'vavcha, in your heart, is because it's not just another category, but it's in fact descriptive of the previous word. This, that it's easy and near and accessible to you to master B'vavcha, the feelings in your heart towards God, la'asoto. What kind of love? It's the next word is describing the kind of love. The love that brings you to perform, that brings you to do the mitzvah, to do the right things. Like a functional love, a love that inspires behavior. There are two kinds of love. There's the emotions of the heart that are truly in the realm of emotions, where your heart becomes completely filled and enraptured by an emotional attraction to something or somebody. You're in a state of complete loving arousal. That's one kind of love. Another kind of love is a love or an arousal of the heart that you have mustered and you have triggered so that it could achieve something. It could achieve and inspire you to perform a particular behavior. It's something you need to work on. It's something that is perhaps temporary, not something that is natural inside your heart, but you've at least aroused it in order to stimulate a particular behavior. Says the Alter Rebbe, the former, the love that is a natural disposition of the heart, where a person is emotionally engaged, emotionally attached to the Torah, to God, to that which is real and true. Only a true tzaddik has complete mastery over that, not the regular person, not the Benoni. However, the Benoni does have complete access and complete ability to inspire the heart, to arouse the heart, that it should arouse and stimulate the performance of the mitzvah. That is possible at all times. Why? Because the way that's achieved is through contemplation and meditation of the mind. The mind influences the heart. The mind controls the heart at all times. If you can put yourself in a zone, in a space where your mind is intellectually engaged and focused on thinking and studying and meditating about thoughts, about God and about the Torah and about truth and about that which is truly important and real, naturally that will trigger the heart. That'll trigger the heart enough that the heart should be able to arouse the behavior, the performance of mitzvot. And essentially, that is all that's required. That's the minimum. That's the essential standard that God wants from us here in this world. As we've learned, God does not want an empty, lifeless, dead mitzvah. God wants a mitzvah that is stimulated and fueled by love. But I can't control myself to love. You can't control yourself to naturally love, but you control yourself to trigger emotions that will inspire the performance of good deeds. Similar to a relationship. Can one say, can you ever think that I tell your loved one, I will always, always love you, no matter which day of the week I wake up, no matter what's going on, no matter the circumstances, I'll always be in a deep state of committed love to you. That's not true. That's impossible. Nobody's truly like that. However, you can tell your loved one, even when on days that I'm distracted, even on days that there's all kinds of circumstances that are playing with me, and my heart is not in a committed state to you, I will always ensure that I'm focused on this relationship and thinking about it and paying attention to you in a way that I'll always be able to trigger myself and arouse myself to live committed to you and to live lovingly to you. This is the love that inspires behavior. That's something that you can always be in control of. In this world, this is the lowest of all the spiritual worlds that were created. There's the higher worlds, the spiritual worlds, Atzilut, Bria, Yitzira, Asiya. Each world has their most primary function and purpose. The purpose ultimately of our world, which is the lowest world, the physical world, that's called the world of Asiya, is deeds, actions, and behaviors. That's the most important result of this world. Higher worlds, their primary function sometimes is to have deep meditative contemplation of the mind. Angels that are exploring, that are cerebral. Other higher worlds have angels that their primary functions are emotional. As we talk about angels in our prayers, they're loving and they're awe-inspired always towards God. In this world, it's true, we're supposed to try to be as cerebral as possible, and try to trigger the heart with emotional attachment as much as possible. But the most important result, the most important purpose of our world is the world of deeds, the world of actions, the world of results. We are asked, we are told, we are challenged to always be doing the right thing, performing mitzvot and studying Torah and doing good deeds. That's something we can all be in control of. And those good deeds should be one that are fueled by a love, fueled by an emotion, fueled by an attachment. That kind of emotions, that kind of arousal of the heart, that doesn't necessarily describe your natural state of being emotionally engaged and infatuated with God at all times. Not all of us can be that, but at least to the extent to trigger and arouse performance of good deeds, that's something we can always be in control of, so long as we access the powers of the mind. And so this calls us to always be vigilant and always be mindfully focused on what's going on. Because if we're mindfully focused, which we have control over, that will spill over to our heart, to arouse it at least enough to inspire the performance of good deeds and mitzvot. Have a great day. God bless you.